Zimbabwe Tzu Chi disaster relief team conducts first aid distribution to 5 different shelters. The Embassy of Belgium in Malaysia holds a refugee-themed photo exhibition in Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to DaAi Headlines, and Lori Chen. Thank you for joining us. After a long trip, Zimbabwe Tzu Chi disaster relief team has finally arrived in the disaster area at Chimanimani. They have successfully conducted their first aid distribution. However, it wasn't without its challenges and surprises. Let's see what exactly happened at the venue.
This is our second day in the disaster area, Chimanimani. Originally, the volunteers planned to hold the distribution yesterday. However, since the president came to care for the affected residents yesterday, we rescheduled the aid distribution to today. This is also the first large-scale aid distribution Zimbabwe Tzu Chi volunteers are holding today.
Chimanimani, we have around more than 200 people. More than 200 people are homeless. And these people no longer have blankets, no longer have clothes. So this donation will go a long way in actually assisting these people.
So the volunteers have prepared in advance for this aid distribution. They carefully sorted out the second-hand clothing that they brought from the capital.
We are selecting to put for the woman, for the baby, for the man, so that when we give, we can't give a man a dress. We have to give a man the actual clothes.
Upon arriving at the distribution venue, city volunteers were forced to change their original distribution plans.
We had planned to distribute supplies to people from 3 different shelters. However, changes happened all the time. When we came, we were actually faced with people from 5 different shelters. Fortunately, our volunteers from Malaysia are very experienced in dealing with last-minute changes, so they gave us many good suggestions.
400 sets of aid supplies included both food and daily necessities. In addition, the volunteers also prepared some extra supplies, including okara, blankets, and Jingsi multi-purpose folding beds. These will all be given to the people in the direst need.
We can distribute food to every resident. However, in terms of daily supplies such as the folding beds, we have selected 17 people who are physically challenged or have mobility issue. We will give them to these 17 people regardless of which shelter they came from.
The affected residents hope that after receiving the aid supplies from Tzu Chi, they can get through the tough times and start to rebuild their lives.
Staying in Zimbabwe, in Chimanimani, Kopa Village was almost completely wiped out after a night of heavy rain. Therefore, for more than half a month, the local residents have been living without water nor electricity. Tzu Chi volunteers plan to hold an aid distribution there soon.
On their way to the disaster area, Chimanimani, one sees the rocks left by landslides. The rocks have made it even more difficult to travel into the village. After half a month, the village has recovered less than 20%. Tzu Chi volunteer Jing has grown up in Chimanimani. After she grew up, she has been working in the capital. 4 of her family members are missing after the cyclone struck. Therefore, she has joined the Tzu Chi disaster relief team. The circled area is Kopa Village in Chimanimani. In the aftermath of the disaster, almost the entire village has been wiped out. After a night of heavy rains, more than 120 buildings, 300 households have been washed away by the landslide.
How many houses destroyed?
Houses approximately almost 120.
120.
The police came.
Even police came also nothing.
Agri-tex houses.
So that means police came also destroyed?
Yeah, was also destroyed.
The local residents point out that this river with fast currents was created by the floodwater. Currently, the residents can only rely on a simple bridge to travel across the river.
We put cables for electric. They distracted the electric cables. Then people just step on.
There's in fact a big difference in the day and night temperatures. After overcoming many challenges, Tzu Chi disaster relief team plans to hold the aid supply distribution as soon as possible.
Currently, there are a total of 47 countries worldwide that are participating in the Send Love to Africa initiative. For Guatemala, Myanmar, and the Philippines, it has even a greater meaning due to how they have also dealt with huge natural disasters. Now that they're all safe and sound, they're seizing the opportunity to pay it forward themselves.
Nasa isip mo, para bang katapusan na ng mundo. Pasalamat lang ako na nakaligtas pa kami.
words of the volunteers speak about the daily challenges that the affected residents in Africa are going through. In order to help the cyclone-affected individuals, the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter conducted a charity event.
看到莫桑比克、Malawi 还有
Seeing the current situation in Mozambique, Malawi, and Zimbabwe, it really takes me back to when we were hit with Typhoon Haiyan. So the fact that we're safe and sound right now, we must cherish it. We must be extremely grateful. It gives us more reasons to pay it forward.
Perhaps it's due to the fact that everyone can understand the feelings of helplessness during a large disaster, so the love that everyone is putting into the box means that much more.
We're very blessed right now because we do not need the help from others. We actually have the abilities to help all those who are in need, able to do good deeds for others. It's a great feeling.
A gathering was also held at the Chimanimani liaison office. All the volunteers are watching a video on the screen, showing all the hardships that the affected residents in Africa are going through.
Even though the amount is not a lot, but it is filled with everyone's love. It comes from anyone associated with Tzu Chi, farmers, volunteers. It's full of love.
Coming over to the other side of the globe, we find ourselves in Central America. Guatemala Tzu Chi volunteers went to the Tzu Chi school in Villa del Oriente to give the children a chance to express the compassion toward Africa. Another place that the volunteers visited was the San Jose Pinola City Hall. The volunteers went up to each staff member on each floor of the building, inviting them to send their love to the affected residents.
I've been working with Tzu Chi for 15 years already. The Tzu Chi Foundation is very admirable in what they do. It's been years that they've been caring for San Jose Pinola's impoverished population. They have provided a lot of assistance to them. Our donations today is just a small gesture of reciprocation.
Love from all over the world will be sent over to all those who are suffering in Africa, hoping to shine a light of hope in the recovery process. Hualien Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for the students at the Jiaming Elementary School for a long time now. Recently, volunteers shared with the students all the hardships in Africa. Upon learning the news, all the children immediately turned their compassion into physical acts of giving.
The video shows the aftermath of Cyclone Ida in eastern Africa. Then Tzu Chi volunteers explain how life is difficult for the affected residents. The children find it hard to believe.
Every family has received this cup of beans. You might think this is good. However, this cup of beans was all they had for a week.
The children follow the volunteers and sincerely pray for the affected residents. In addition, they put their change into the coin bank, hoping to help the affected residents rebuild their homes.
In fact, our school has received much help from outside resources. We hope through this opportunity we can learn to be grateful and reciprocate the help we received.
The children wrote down wishes on the hand-shaped cards and put them on the big poster, hoping to deliver their best wishes to the affected residents in Eastern Africa.
In 2018, Australia experienced one of the worst droughts in history, which left many farmers' land in ruins. Therefore, Tzu Chi volunteers have been continuously caring for the affected farmers. This time, they have gone back to Forbes-town, and to their surprise, many of the residents have donated back their coin banks.
In Australia, the New South Wales continues to face severe drought disaster. Tzu Chi volunteers have arrived at Forbes, a town located in west of Sydney. Many farmlands are badly affected by drought. The sheep couldn't find a single blade of green grass to eat. When the farm owner bought pastures, all the cattle came immediately. The volunteers have paid home visits to affected households who they met last year. The senior couple make a living from farming. Volunteers have provided financial assistance, hoping to help them overcome these difficulties in front of them.
When our conscience is clear and our mind at peace, we bring peace and breath to those around us.
Oh yes, that's right.
Sue is another drought-affected farmer. After the passing of her husband, she owes a debt for the funeral. She was grateful when she received assistance from volunteers. In addition, many of them have shown their compassion by donating their bamboo coin banks, including a local volunteer who has helped with the home visits.
Got not much money, but I'm rich. And I love life. You know, it's great. Yeah, has put a smile on every face every day and do something nice for everyone every day, every person I meet.
On the other hand, volunteers went to a local elementary school to distribute stationery supplies. Meanwhile, the school also allows students coming from impoverished families to take a shower at the shower stalls. Continuing their journey to the food bank, volunteers try to understand the residents' needs in order to make the assessments on the care planning process in the near future.
Recently, a photo exhibition aiming to raise the public's awareness about the important subject of the refugee crisis took place in Kuala Lumpur. It was conducted by the Embassy of Belgium and Malaysia, with many NGOs in attendance, including Tzu Chi.
Each photo shows the emotions of refugees, which is filled with worries and fear. The black and white photos on the wall are taken by Belgian photographer David Verbarret.
If it can change the concept of one or two persons that will see the exhibition about who are the Rohingya, why are they in this situation, why do you see them maybe here? If people can at least have one or two images remaining in their head, for me this is already something.
The theme for this exhibition is the Rohingya refugees. It was held at a restaurant located at Kuala Lumpur. The NGOs were invited to the venue.
Every time I told my mom, I always used to say to my mother that one day I will go back to my country and I will build schools there and I will educate people. Everyone will laugh at me and I will tell them that I will prove it.
This volunteer has been paying close attention to the issue of refugees for a long time. She's invited to share her experiences on helping the people in need.
I'm very, very glad. I'm very proud of Tzu Chi to be able to be represented in the functions like this, because these are people, some of very important positions, and they are all doing their part.
First of all, I think that the rest of the world has a lot to learn from Master and to learn from Tzu Chi, because you have been, all of you, very active for the last decades, and you have a lot to share. You have a lot to learn, to teach to the rest of the world. So this is important.
The exhibition will be held for 3 days, hoping to raise public awareness of the plight of refugees.
A Tzu Chi volunteer from China got married last year and moved to Taiwan. Due to his wife's passion for doing Tzu Chi's work, the Taiwanese husband has also been inspired to join the ranks of volunteers. Now they have the same goals for the future, continue to do Tzu Chi's work together. The wife is patiently teaching the husband how to sort the recyclable goods. Inside a humanitarian ecotech pavilion, this is a scene filled with bliss.
Us too, coming here has taught him a lot of things. He's really happy and it makes me feel at ease as well. Because him coming here with me, he's able to know exactly what I'm doing.
Zhang Changfeng was originally a Tzu Chi volunteer in Kunshan, Jiangsu province. Last year, she got married to her husband, Huang Xingyi, and moved to Taiwan. She has inspired her husband to do Tzu Chi work together.
Because my wife just recently moved here from China, so she's still quite unfamiliar with everything here. And since she's so enthusiastic about doing Tzu Chi's work, then I must support her and help her out.
Accompanying his wife in attending various Tzu Chi activities, he has gained a lot as well.
Whenever we would go on home visits, I would see a lot of people's hardships. I would really realize the meaning behind, see suffering, and recognize blessings.
Every time we head back home, we will have a lot of common topics to talk about. We will also talk about the care recipient situations. Through going on home visits, we both learn to cherish our family more.
Doing Tzu Chi's work is the focus of the couple's everyday life. It will also be the common goal in their future.
I really want to thank my husband for always supporting me.
I hope that in the future we can continue to do Tzu Chi work together.
Xing Sixian is a 4th grade student at Nantou Qianqiu Elementary School. He's also a starting pitcher and shortstop for the school's youth baseball team. Both of his parents have serious hearing impairments, so from a young age he was brought up by his grandparents.
My idol is Shohei Ohtani. I want to be strong like him. I want to throw as hard as him and also swing a bat like him. tender face with a fierce look in his eyes is Xing Shixian, who is a baseball player for Chenzhou Elementary School. This fourth-grade elementary school student is both a pitcher and shortstop. He throws right and bats left as he hopes to be a dual threat on the field. Sometimes you might miss the ball or not play well. My defense needs help as I miss the ball as I don't want to be afraid of the ball. Shixian is from Nantou's Chimanimani tribe. His parents are deaf and mute. When he was a child, his grandparents mostly took care of him.
My daughter is deaf and mute, so I owe my daughter. I told her that I would take good care of my grandson.
We got third place. At that time, I played very well. My defense and strikes were very good. His performance in the game was outstanding and widely reported. Shixian was happy to share this news with his grandmother. Since second grade, he left home and moved into the team dormitory to learn independence.
When we passed the bridge, he started crying. I also started crying. He's very interested in baseball, so he does okay. But you don't want to go to the middle and become discouraged or tired. He said that wouldn't happen.
Every week, his grandparents drive down the mountain and picked him up at the school to return to the tribal village. If there's a holiday, I ask Grandpa to come get me. After finishing the phone call, I tell him I love him. We talk about my grades and if I've been injured. And then he says, take good care of yourself. The outcome of games can affect the child's mood. His grandmother turns out to be his best psychological counselor.
I say it doesn't matter if you lose. You can get it back next time. So every time they have a game, I say we're busy because I'm afraid they'll lose if I go, and they will win if I'm not there.
Tzu Chi volunteers often go to their home to care for this family and Shixian's development.
Interaction with this child, learning about them, and some aspects of moral education, in fact, can teach children very well.
Even though he can only use sign language to communicate with his parents, meticulous care from his grandparents have led Shixian to excel on the baseball diamond.
When Lai Yingtao was just a child, her mother already planted the seed of kindness in her heart. That is why she has always vowed to do good deeds for those who are in need. Ever since coming into contact with Tzu Chi, she has not stopped recruiting more individuals to join her in volunteering.
Next to the stream, Lai Yingtao is leading a group of seniors in doing morning exercises. After returning home, she gets changed and takes on the role of the hairdressers.
Whenever I would head over to get my hair washed at Yingtao's salon, she would always be talking to me about Tzu Chi. Eventually, I became one of her donating members. Then slowly, over time, I started to volunteer at various Tzu Chi activities with her.
Dharma Master Zhen Yan said, there's a tug-of-war between good and evil. Recruit more bodhisattvas to heighten the strength of goodness. The great earth is facing an emergency call for help. Repent with absence rules to suppress calamities. So I took those words to heart and was determined to invite all my friends and customers to all come do good deeds together.
Along the way, taking care of both her family and career wasn't always this smooth. However, those obstacles were all resolved thanks to the spiritual guidance from the ancestors.
On the day of worship for my father-in-law, I kept on getting 2 convex sides when I threw the divining blocks. I never once got a sacred combination. Then my husband suddenly blurted out, the ancestors have something to say. So I quickly had a thought. I picked up the divining blocks again and started to present my request to the ancestors. I said, is it because that I have been doing more behind-the-scenes things, like collecting donating members' funds for so long, 4 to 5 years now? Is it time for me to go out into the crowd and serve others physically, so that all of these good deeds and merits can bless this family? It will help you all be joyful while looking down upon us. Then I threw the divining blocks onto the floor, and all 3 consecutive times were sacred combinations. My husband got really angry with me. He said that, don't do that. Why don't you just close the whole hair salon down then? I simply ignored him. Then he just kept on yelling at me. So I told him that it wasn't me, that the ancestors had agreed. It wasn't my idea to just go out. I told him that us, the ones still living, can negotiate. But can we actually negotiate with the ancestors?
Every family has their own difficulties. Ever since childhood, her mother has always instilled the concept of doing good deeds for others in her mind. Therefore, Lai Yingtao never forgets about doing Tzu Chi.
Through going on home visits, I saw the sufferings of other families. Many of them are incomplete families. My family is a complete and happy one. So I told myself that I really shouldn't continue arguing with my family members. I needed to change myself. I needed to learn how to be like the year of a crop. Like they say, the fuller the year of the crop is, the lower it tilts down. In order to see a change in others, I must first change myself.
我们要学习稻穗，稻穗越饱满越低头。
When my wife first joined Tzu Chi, to be honest, I wasn't very accepting of the idea. My temper has gotten a lot better, of course. Slowly, I too had changed my mindset about the whole ordeal. The main thing, I think, is the fact that her motivation for joining Tzu Chi has not changed one bit since the very beginning.
She's created many positive affinities with others by actively showing care through actions to strengthen these relationships.
One time, my foot was badly fractured during a car accident. I wasn't able to work. I had to rest at home. I remember her bringing some sweet potato soup to my house and telling me to eat it while it's still hot. When I was eating what she made for me, I instantly teared up because that was the most caring act and the most comforted I had felt ever since I got injured. She was the first person that showed me that much care. I was really touched. I had always wanted to do good deeds to help others, but I was afraid that my family would be against it. So in the beginning, I would always hide my Tzu Chi uniform in a paper bag. Whenever I would take it out and put it on, it would always have wrinkles all over it. I would always keep it at Yingtao's house. When she saw how wrinkled my uniform was, she quickly grabbed an iron and started to iron out all the wrinkles. Then after she was done, she had me put it on. It looked so much better and made me feel dignified.
I'm very happy that I'm able to recruit so many individuals to join the Tzu Chi family. I have witnessed firsthand just how happy doing good deeds makes them. They have found the value in life. It's very infectious. I'm over the moon knowing that I'm actually capable of motivating others to do volunteer work together. At the same time, they're pushing me to be more diligent. They have also helped me find my sense of confidence. I have found my refuge in Tzu Chi. It has reminded me of my initial thought of kindness, vowing to do good deeds for those who are in need. So that is why the more I do, the happier I become. Two Tzu Chi DaAi kindergartens in Malaysia, under the guidance of their teachers, have brought all their coin banks to the school to give to the cyclone-affected residents in Africa. Little seeds of kindness, doing great deeds for the world. Thank you for watching. See you next time.